Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are having a fantastic day so far. I hope wherever you are in the world today has been treating you well. In today's video I am going to be giving you my first update for my Pan That palette of 2025, which is the Serenity palette by Cosmic Beauty. If you want to see my introduction video, I will leave that linked up above, but today I am going to be giving you my January recap. Well, let's be real, January and the first half of February at this point. I am so late filming this video. Oh, forgive me, but I am going to be giving you my update for this palette today. And if you want to follow along, you can subscribe down below, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you like Pan That palette videos. I am also doing a Pan That palette in order, which is the Colourpop Sweet Talk palette. So if you want to see an update on that, that will be coming later in the month. Well, obviously later in the week. I think that will be coming on Friday maybe. So subscribe if you want to see that as well, and if you want to see updates from my Pan That palette 2025. But today I'm going to be talking through all of the uses that I have on each of the pans, and I also have 5 pictures that I took throughout the month of looks that I did with this palette. So if you want to see actual real life examples of how I have used this palette throughout the month, then just keep on watching. We're going to be getting into that now. So this is how the palette was looking when I first rolled it in. Obviously there's no pans, there's no real movement on any of the pans. Although I have used this palette a lot, I feel like there's no signs. There's nothing to show for it, and this is how the palette is looking now. Really close up, this is how everything is looking. So I do feel like on the top row, the shade Sorbet, which is the bright green in the middle, I feel like you can see quite a bit of an indent on that one. There's quite a bit of movement on that. The main movement, the main difference that you'll be able to see in this palette, as I suspected, will be on that shade on the bottom row, which is called Ether. I have used that pan so much. I love that colour. There is a massive dint in that shade now. I am already feeling like I need to stop using it because I'm getting too much use on it. And every single time I use it, I'm like, please don't let me hit pan yet, because I just know I'm going to miss that shade so much when it's gone. There is also quite a bit of movement on the next shade over to that one, which is called Make a Wish, which is a pastel lilac. There is quite a bit of movement on that one as well. So obviously it all looks pretty much the same. There's a little bit of movement on some of the shades, but it does look largely the same. There's no pans yet. I wasn't necessarily thinking that I was going to hit pan yet, but there's a little bit of movement, but not too much. I will say throughout the month, I do feel like I was dipping into that Ether shade so much that I had to stop myself from using it, because I know that I'm going to finish that one first, and my heart already hurts thinking that it's going to be gone. So it is my goal for February, before I get into how much I have used this, it's my goal for February to use all of the shades that I haven't used in January, because there are quite a few. There's quite a few that I didn't manage to dip into, and the ones that I did dip into, I dipped into a lot. So I need to be working on the other ones. I need to even the playing field a little bit. So let's just go row by row, and I will talk you through all of the shades and how many times I have used each one. So first up we have got Opal. I used this one twice. Both times I was using it with a very precise brush and popping it right onto the inner corner. I want to try and use that shade across the lid, probably just with my finger, because it is that sort of formula that I think will perform better being applied with my finger rather than a brush if I'm doing just all over the lid. I also want to try this shade on top of some of the other shades in February. It's already halfway through February, but I'm going to tell myself that I want to do that Then we have got Pixie, this matte purple. I use this one if I'm looking down. I've got my notebook in front of me with how many uses I have on everything. So Pixie, this purple, I used 5 times, which every single time I used that, I used it on the outer corner. I have a few pictures coming up at the end where I have used this shade, and I've always used it right on the outer corner for an everyday smoky purple sort of look. I really, really like that shade on the outer corner. It's a beautiful, beautiful undertone, and I just love purple. So that's a very, very easy shade for me. Managed to use that one 5 times. Then we have got Sorbet. I used that one twice. Both times I used it on the inner corner, and then throughout the day, sort of as, you know, my oils started coming out of my skin and things like that, I felt like it got quite dark. So I don't think I'm going to use that on my inner corner again. I actually think if I want a green inner corner, I want to be going for Spring, which is more of a mint green, rather than Sorbet, which is like a lime green. I just think on the inner corner, Sorbet is a little bit dark for me, and I have learned that this month, and that's a great thing to learn. I think all over the lid it will be absolutely fine, but I think on the inner corner, it's just a little bit too dark for me. And I like a really, really bright inner corner. So that's just personal preference. Then we have got Earth, which is a sort of khaki brown shade. I didn't think I would get so much use on this one, but I've used it 4 times this month. Every single time I've used it with a big fluffy brush, and I've sort of really blended it out and used it as like my crease transition shade with something else across the lid. I do have a picture coming up with that one, so I've used that one 4 times. Then we have got Oasis right on the end. I just love this shade, packed all over the lid with a big black wing. Call it a day. Very, very easy. Just blend it out a tiny, tiny little bit. And I have used that one 3 times in that way, just completely by itself. I don't have a picture, but I will get one. The next time I do it, I will get one, because I just think that that like warm peachy orange shade is so beautiful on blue eyes, and with that big black wing, it's just one and done. Very, very easy. It's just so easy, and I love that shade. It's just the perfect depth, but it's still bright and colourful. You can also use that, or I can also use that as a little bit of blush if I'm wanting to like tie it all in. I can like blend the eyeshadow right out and then tie it in with the blush. Then next on the second row, we have got Odyssey. I have used this one once. I have a picture of the day that I used this one. This over the top of like green, just a little sparkly topper on top of greens. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I've used that one once. Then River. I thought that I would be very, very happy dipping into this one, but I haven't dipped into this one in January. I will. Like I say, I want to be dipping into all of the shades that I haven't used in January. I want to be dipping into before my next update. Hold me to that. Whether I'll do it, I don't know, but I want to be doing that. So Forest. I have used this one once. I used it as a smoky wing. I got it on a flat liner brush, something more like sort of what would be on the end of a brow brush, rather than like a thin, like this sort of liner brush, you know? That sort of like graphic liner brush where it's very long. I got it on like a flat liner brush and like packed it on and sort of smoked it out, and that shade is beautiful as a smoky wing. I don't know if I will be able to hit pan on these like very, very dark shades because I use so little of them, but I managed to get one use this month and I'm happy with that. So then we have got Spring, the shade that I think I want to use as an inner corner. I haven't used that one this month, but I will. I will. Then we have got Serenity. Again, I thought that I would be able to use that one. That's a duochrome. There's like a blue. I thought that that would be one that I would find quite easy, but I haven't dipped into this month. But I will. You have to hold me to this because I am holding myself to nothing. So then we have got the shade Awake, the light purple, the pastel purple. I have used that shade twice, both times. Did I use that across the lid? No. Yeah, I just used it on the inner corner, I think, both times. Very, very bright, very pastel, beautiful, beautiful shade. And we're coming into spring as well, so I feel like I'll get a lot of use out of the very pastel, bright inner corner shades, because that look is just one that I love. And I've got a picture coming up that I'll show you at the end. Then we have got Twilight. I haven't used that shade this month. I'm not sure. I think that will be my least used shade, just because if I'm using a shimmer, I want it to be bright. I want it to be light. I want it to add a bright pop to my eyes, and that's a very, very dark shimmer. I will try and use it maybe all over the lid, like tapped right out, but I don't think I'm going to get too much use on Twilight. It's just not my personal preference favourite shade, but it's the only one in the palette that I think I'm not going to get very much use on. Everything else I'm positive about. Then we have got the shade Moss. I have used this 3 times. I have a picture coming up at the end. I think I've got 2. I can't remember, but I have used this one, what did I just say? 3 times. That shade through the crease with like a gold or a green. Spoiler, that's one of the pictures that I got. That is just beautiful. I love greens and I love purples, and obviously that's exactly what this palette is. Do you see why I chose it? I'm highly caffeinated today, in case you can't tell. I'm very, very hooey today. So next up we have got Lagoon. I haven't used this shade. Then we have got Mood. I also haven't used this shade. Both of those I think would make a beautiful smoky wing. I just haven't got around to it this month. But actually you could do Lagoon going into Mood. There's like a double colour like ombre liner thing. I've just given myself an idea to get 2 uses out of 2 shades. I will get that look done this month for sure. Then we have got Wanderer. I have used that shade twice. It's a beautiful green shimmer, and that just tapped all over the lid. Do you get where I'm going with this? I like a shade just tapped onto the lid and blended out. That's what I do just on an everyday. 1 or 2 shades, that's how I use a lot of my palettes, just on an everyday basis. And that green is beautiful. It's not too dark. I feel like it does add, where the reflect adds that brightness. I really, really like that shade. Then Ether. I've used 8 times this month. And then I had to tell myself to stop using it because I'm using it too much. So there is a big amount of movement in that pan. Like I don't know if I can see a little bit of the backing. I feel like I can see a little bit of like a cross hatch that might be the backing of the pan, which excites me and terrifies me in equal measure. But 8 uses I've got 2 pictures coming up at the end where I'm using that, just blended out all over the lid, the very, very tiniest little bit of product just tapped right out over the top of some of these other purple shades is incredible. But also you can really pack it onto the inner corner and really sort of pinpoint on a tacky base. Chef's kiss. It's so beautiful. And like I say, definitely the shade that I'm going to hit pan on first, because the dip in that shade is quite something. Then we have got Make a Wish, which is the pastel, slightly more pink purple shade, where Awake is more of a blue purple, Make a Wish is more of a pink purple. That I used 4 times. Every time packed onto the inner corner, blended out the tiniest little bit across the lid. Like these pastel shades in that way are just incredible. Then sort of in the same way, I have used Echo 3 times. The bright blue, baby blue, I love. Right on the inner corner, nothing else, just a little bit of bronzer through the crease, or like one of the more warm neutrally shades through the crease, and a big black wing. Easy, simple, we love her. And then Mystical, the matte black, I haven't used. So that is all of my uses. I actually haven't even counted. Let me count. 40, a nice round 40. I have used 40 dips this month, which I feel like in the month of 30 days have September, April, 31. In a month that has 31 days, I am quite happy with that. Can you tell that I am just absolutely losing my marbles today? So I am going to show you some pictures of ways that I have used this palette this month. Let me get my phone so that I can see what I'm talking about. So we have got this picture here, which I think you will be able to see has the sorbet shade right on the inner corner, and you can sort of see it here where it's a little bit darker than my skin tone. And when I first applied it, I felt like it was quite bright, and this picture was only taken like as I was leaving the house. I just feel like as it was sitting on my skin, it was sort of darkening. So like I say, it's a shade that I'm not really going to use on my inner corner moving forwards, but I mean, I like how this looks. I just feel like if I'm going for that bright inner corner moment, then sorbet maybe isn't the colour that I necessarily want to be using. I also have the shade Moss all across the lid, and then Wanderer I just tapped sort of very, very lightly over the top to add that beautiful bit of shimmer. I'm using, I think it's Cherry Pie, the Glisten Cosmetics wet liner. I think that's what that is, as the wing. I'm losing my mind. So then this picture here, this is the makeup that I did for my birthday. I had to work on my birthday this year, which is a terrible shame, but somebody had to do it. And I thought, if I have to work on my birthday, I want fun makeup. So this is the look that I did. So I have the shade Echo right on the inner corner, and you can see there that beautiful bright pastel pop of blue right on the inner corner. It just does something to me. I absolutely love that shade. I have Pixie, the purple shade from the top row. I have that through the crease and also under the eyes, and then I have Make-A-Wish and Ether all across the lid. So I just tapped a little bit of Make-A-Wish all over the lid just to sort of mattify it and add a little bit of colour, and then I took a very small amount of Ether and tapped that over the top. I am also wearing a blue liquid liner here, and I think that might be Made by Mitchell Make a Mark in Wave After Wave. I haven't actually written down the like other eye makeup that I'm wearing, but I think I'm going to do that moving forward because I would like to know, just for my own benefit, what liners I'm wearing in these pictures as well, if it's not absolutely like clear what it is that I'm wearing. In those pictures it was clear. So then this picture here, I was going for a more simple green look. This is Earth on the outer corner, just blended right out. It is a beautiful sort of not too dark browny green for the outer corner that I don't feel like is too green. It's not too bright, it's not too in your face. I felt very, very comfortable in this look just going off to work. And I also have Odyssey all across the lid. That's the like gold that you can see across the lid. Really, really like that one. Then let me find my next picture. I should have put all of these in a folder so that I just knew where they were, but I didn't think that far ahead. So this picture here, this, do excuse the pajamas, a lot of the time, all of the time, I get ready wearing that exact hoodie. Because it's so cold in my makeup room, but that is not what we're talking about. This picture here, I was using Awake on the inner corner, which was that more bluey toned, the more blue toned purple. Really, really like that shade right on the inner corner. And I also had Ether all across the lid. This is such an easy way to add a pop of colour right on the inner corner, and then to tie it in with that duochrome across the lid just works. The outer corner is one from my Colourpop Sweet Talk palette, if you're wondering what that is. That update will be coming whenever I get around to doing it. And then lastly, I wanted to show you this one. So this was actually one that I filmed for a short. I have been doing a new short every single day. That's why I am so caffeinated. I've been doing a new short every single day using a Glisten Cosmetics wet liner. So that's what the wet liner is. That's what the graphic liner is. It is not Cherryade, Grapeade, but I have Make-A-Wish right on the inner corner and Pixie on the outer corner. And that is all of the pictures that I took this month. I'm happy that I got 5. Like, I got 5 pictures and I'm happy with that. I'm not pushing myself to do too many. Just when I really like a look, I am taking a little picture of it and writing it down in my notebook so that I know what I used. So I hope you found that useful. I hope that you got a little bit of inspiration for ways that you can use if you have this palette. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more updates. Hopefully next time I won't be quite so wired and I will have a little bit more like conscious thought, because it's honestly like it's late. Do you want to see what I mean when I say it's late? It is 7:15 in the evening, but I've been at work all day and then I came home and I filmed this look, which is for a short. So you will have seen this yesterday, but I'm filming it the day before, so that's what I'm doing. What else do I have to say? I think that that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.